Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to Forza Horizon 5. It's been a while since I made a video, and I see people are still watching my how to wheelie tune video. So I want to come back to the game after probably 2 years of not really playing it to see if the wheelie tune system still is the same. For the most part, nothing's changed, but I've fine-tuned my method a little bit, utilizing the friction information here, which is given to you in game by hitting the T button if you're on the computer. I'm not sure how it works on Xbox, but the point is that in order to have a wheelie tune that actually works, you have to get the final gear so that when you launch the car, the tire isn't overwhelmed. This is a balance of horsepower as well as gear tuning to get the wheelie tune done. Now the basics hasn't really changed. You still have to tune the car the same way, mainly low tire pressure in the back, high tire pressure in the front. The gearing's the tricky part. You want to make sure first gear, really we only care about first gear because that's what you're launching on, is going to give you that grip that I just showed you earlier. Alignment doesn't matter, anti-roll bar doesn't matter, springs, stiffen the rear, soften the front, highest you can set the car because you need the car to rock to get that lift on the front. Very important, stiffness. All stiff in the rear, soft in the front is the best to do. Differential is variable, but I tend to put 100% acceleration and then fine-tune the gearing. Now, if you do 80%, you could do a different gearing. So gearing differential has direct impact to each other, and the rest really doesn't matter as much. Once you set it, you set it. So obviously drag tires, wide as possible, light as car possible, but the most horsepower possible isn't always the best thing because too much horsepower means your car will always overwhelm the rear tires, and you don't want that. You want the rear tires to kind of grip just right to get that front end to lift. Even on a car like the BMW M2, you can get a nice lift going. Now, not all cars can do this, right? Some cars are just not able to do a front end lift. The Integra Type R, I'm still messing with. I just haven't been able to get the front end to really lift up because the rear tires are too narrow, even with drag tires. Maybe I'm putting too much power on it. We'll figure it out. But some of the ones that definitely works okay they tend to be like short wheelbase, very light cars. The classic one that I love to use and does some crazy front end lift is the Aerial Atom. This is still the ultimate, in my opinion, of crazy wheelies. For a car that doesn't look like it would ever do wheelies, it does it very nicely. Of course, when you're woo! Woohoo! Woo! Woo! All right, baby. When you get it on the dirt, you can do this for a while. It doesn't, because you can just keep the front end up. All right, lost it. Still one of the best, most fun one for pulling wild wheelies. Let's go to a different car. There's some classic cars with short wheelbase that does wheelies very well. This car I thought would, but the rear end, the graphics design or something makes it really hard to do. So it did not actually pull off what I had hoped it would do when it comes to wheelie. But BMWs, there are a few of them. This one I'm still working on, but where's the one that definitely will do it? This one will do a wheelie. I think I have it on a drag tune from a while ago. This guy right here, short wheelbase, decent power. These are the kind of cars that tend to be easy to do a wheelie tune on. Some classic cars look like they would do it, but they're too heavy and too long, and it actually makes it very hard to do a wheelie tune with them. So here we go. This guy here is still one of my more fun ones, and we haven't even gotten to C yet, right? So let's see if we can get to. So like some of these classic cars you would think would pull nice wheelies. Unfortunately, they don't. Not to say that you can't ultimately get them to do it. It's just really hard to get it just right. I was able to get this car to pull a mild one, and I could probably fine tune it to get some kind of real wheelie out of it, but it's more of a bounce than a true wheelie tune. My desire to see when it comes to wheelie tunes is that the car would hold its front end up in the air through the entire first gear, and possibly even into second if it's really capable. Those are the most fun ones. I am not sure this car's set up to actually pull that off. Let's see. Yeah, see, this is what I call front lift. See, it'll lift the front, right? Now, you can probably go back and look at it and see if we can fine tune it. I mean, I don't have the differential set up. Dampening's right. Springs, get the height a little higher. And then really it comes back to this. Can that gear maintain the traction for the purpose of, right? So we can look at this to see where we're at with it. See that one, it's blowing the tires off too quick. See, that's too much traction. I mean, too little traction, I should say. Too much power. This is where ultimately I may want to play with the gear ratio to try to see if we can. Almost better. But again, you can see now the problem is it looks like the gear drops too much. Yep, that's too much of a drop there, making the car kind of not get into the gear hot enough to pull off the drive. So that is the balance. Now, one of the things I may do as an addition is to actually lower the power band slightly, and hopefully that'll get us somewhere. Right, but this one is doing what I call a little skippity hop, not quite a true wheelie. Something to go back and play with. This is the kind of thing that can be fun if that's what your goals are, to try to pull off wheelies with as many cars as you can find. A lot of times putting the most power down on it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the best result when it comes to pulling an actual wheelie. Let me see if a C4 vet could pull it off. I think this guy here, the Chevelle Sport, may be able to do it. It's been a while. Again, I can't remember all the cars I tuned to pull this off consistently, but they all have different. Oop, that's very close. That means this car is right there. Let's take a look at what's happening with the tires. Blowing the tires off. Okay, let's come back here. But this might be a matter of gear ratio and differential. Let's put the diff up. Let's lower just a little bit. Hopefully that'll give us just enough of a difference to. No, still blowing the tires off. You see how that's too much there? So we need to, again, play with the gear. Right? Sometimes too long a first gear is no good either. Let's see what's happening with the gear here. Yeah, it's not working. Let me see one more time. All right, let's try this. I mean, we're pushing the gear kind of far out now. Too long a first gear means that it launches too low. Now, all right, so maybe this one wasn't going to pull it off. I probably have it on a different setup than I thought. Okay, let's do one more car and then I'll call the video. I don't want this thing to become too long, but this is basically just kind of reiterating my old, wheelie tune setups to make sure that they still work. I'm pretty sure this car could pull it off pretty easily. This is the utility van. The utility sedan. Again, short wheelbase, decent power, drag setup with decent height. All these are little factors that kicks in. Suspension, usually you want to use rally because it gives the. Hold on. Yep, this one can pull it. It's pretty close. Let's see what's going on with the tires. It's there. It's there. It's there. All right. All right. So this one, it's kind of a weak wheelie, but right. And I'm tuned using maximum RPM launch. Now, some of these cars you may be able to use a restricted RPM launch and still pull off the same result, but might be a little different when it comes to how well it does it. Let's give it a try with 100% differential lock. No, 100% differential lock. Actually, notice it's overwhelming the tires. So that means too much, too aggressive there. I can bump it back down, give it a little extra gearing to see if we can get it just right. That's probably why I had the differential much lower in the original setup. Let's try 50. But yeah, it's a lot of trial and error, but you want to utilize different different strategies to kind of figure out where it works best for both the gearing and the differential. Yeah, still blowing the tires off too quick. Let's go back to where we had it before, which is I think around 20. Not to say open diff is necessarily better, but for some reason, yeah, oh, okay, that definitely improved. So we can bump it back up to 26. Let's try it now. I mean, the main thing here is getting the tire just right. All right, now it's doing better, but see if we can get more grip on the line. All right, let's take a look what's going on with RPMs. Yeah, too much RPM drop. So too much RPM drop is no good. So we're going to lower this back down. We're going to increase the gearing here, because you definitely want the gearing to be, so the RPM drop, watch this side here, okay? You don't want the RPM to drop too much. You want it in the power band. So here we go. You see how that's almost perfect. Now, tweaking the gear ratio back up a little bit without hopefully overwhelming the tires is what we want. And there it is. That's more of an actual wheelie. And that's the detail trick. This is the advanced tuning that you need to do to get all your wheelie tunes to work. Okay, it's a balance of lock, tire grip, and gear ratio delivery. Now, I think that I could still improve on this a little bit, but that is where I'm at with this car at this moment. It just, at this point, it's all fine tuning to get the most lift you can for the longest by keeping the car on the power band. Okay, I think the power band can shift just a hair more. Let's try to do it this way, because you want that RPM to drop into the zone. Oh, too much. You can tell right there, too much. See how it overwhelms it right away? Too much. Okay. Knock it back. Could maybe do, oops. Maybe do 40. Nope. Still a little hair too much. So tire heat does come into play as well, so don't forget that. We're gonna move the entire final dry ratio as a way to, pretty close. I think I'm almost there. Now, there it is. Woo! Alright, different parts of the track actually have different levels of slipperiness, so understand that you can't repeatedly get, like right there, see how it's different? You gotta let the tire cool sometimes. And there it is. Alright, I think that's enough. Thank you for joining me for this video. But again, Wheelie tunes still work. The strategy still works. If you want to know the basics of it, watch my how to Wheelie tune video. And this is more the advanced discussion of using the tire friction meter here to figure out if your car's gearing versus differential versus power level is causing the problem of why you put all the parts in, you slapped it together, and it's still not doing the wheelie. It's because you're blowing the tires friction. Make sure you tweak the final drive, tweak the differential lock, and then eventually possibly even tweak the power level of the car based on the weight and your goal of getting that front end to lift, and you'll end up with a Wheelie tune car. I hope you liked the video, and I hope the information is helpful to you. If you like the video, leave a like. If you like my channel and you like Wheelie tunes, well, I'm still here. So subscribe, hit the bell, and you get notified when I put up new videos. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.